Acting Premier of Nevis, Evelyn, successfully guided the Nevis International Banking Amendment Bill 2024 through the second and third readings to have the legislation passed in the Nevis Island Assembly on Tuesday, June 18th. Mr. Evelyn presented the bill in the Parliament and led the debate in the stead of Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration, Premier Mark Brantley.
The evolution of the international banking sector requires that a vigilant and responsive regulator be provided with the statutory framework for properly supervising the sector. The bill seeks to address some hurdles to adequate oversight and to respond to some suggestions from the banks themselves regarding the licensing process. Madam President, as we seek to enhance our position as a reliable and effective international financial services center, Nevis has begun to attract international banks. We therefore must be alert to ensure that our regulatory architecture meets not only global best practice standards, but also keeps us competitive enough to attract new entities. Indeed, as the Minister of Finance outlined in his budget address, we have grown from 3 international banks to 6 licensed entities in the last 6 months. Therefore, Madam President, the imperative for enhancing our regulatory capability is clearly established.
He said the bill introduced important amendments to the island's international banking ordinance, which provides the statutory and regulatory environment that underpins Nevis's emerging international banking sector.
This amendment bill, Madam President, provides for the proposed amendments which were submitted by the Financial Services Regulation and Supervision Department and on behalf of the regulator of international banks, and has been crafted after consultation with the international banking sector. The amendments reflect changes that were necessary to cure certain deficiencies or correct loopholes in the principal ordinance, with a view to ensuring stricter compliance by the international banks, but also to introduce a new and, we think, highly satisfactory measure as regards the licensing process. Madam President, I am assured by our legal and financial advisors that these amendments will position Nevis favorably, both in terms of our attractiveness as well as a well-regulated but user-friendly international banking center. We have crafted these amendments with both the international regulatory requirements and commercial practicabilities in mind, and we have consulted with our regulated entities to ensure that we have achieved that fine balance that is required to maintain cutting-edge status that has seen us emerge as a stable and as a reliable partner to our service providers.
Amendments to the ordinance include taking a risk-based approach to the capital adequacy of a licensee to ensure that it is sufficiently capitalized in the event of loss or other factors which pose a risk to its continued operations in a financially prudent manner. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.